The first thing we need to do is we need to read our passage. We cannot write our extended response until we read the passage that goes with it. How can you answer a question if you don't read the information you need to answer the question? Duh, silly, you gotta read it first, all right? We've talked about reading a lot. Sometimes you'll be able to read it one time and be good to go. You might need to read it more than once. Go back and reread. I know that's your favorite word. Reread your passage so you can successfully answer your extended response. All right, I'm going to read it to you and you can just follow along with my screen. A plant puzzle. Living things like plants, animals, and people need energy to survive and grow. People eat food for energy, but plants use energy they get from sunlight. When you look at plants, such as a tree, flower, or grass, what do you see? You might notice their stems, trunks, branches, leaves, roots, or flowers. But how do they grow? What are they made from? How did the plant make those parts? Life is a puzzle in many ways. People don't all agree on how life started or why it exists. Yet a simple way of thinking about how plants grow is to think of the plant itself as a piece of a larger puzzle. Each plant is part of its unique environment. Different environments could be oceans, forests, deserts, or cities. Each environment also has its own climate, which is partially based on how much sun and rain an area receives every year. Since only certain plants grow in hot, cool, wet, or dry climates, each environment is made up of different types of plant life. A desert may grow palm trees and cacti, while a forest may grow tall pines or oak trees. In order for a plant to grow, it needs three very important puzzle pieces: water, carbon dioxide, and light. Plants use their roots to take in water from the ground. They use their leaves to take in sunlight and carbon dioxide from the air. Plants use three puzzle pieces to make their own food in a process called photosynthesis. Using the energy from the sun, plants convert water and carbon dioxide into sugar. This sugar feeds the plant's growth from a seedling into an adult. In the process, the plant releases oxygen into the air. Another important piece to the growth of many plants is soil. Using their roots, plants take in nutrients from the soil that help them grow. Giving a plant a spot in a clean soil is important to make sure it doesn't absorb anything harmful from the dirt. Plants make their food from carbon dioxide, water, and light. They use this food to grow stems, trunks, roots, branches, leaves, and flowers. Now, when you look at a tree, flower, or even a blade of grass, you can see all the pieces of the plant and how the entire puzzle fits together. Now that I've read my passage, I'm going to jump over to my prompt in my DWB box. Okay, the prompt is at the top here. It's like our question, what do we need to write about? It says, using text evidence, explain the process a plant goes through to make its own food. So the first thing that we need to do now that we have our prompt is fill out our DWB box. I'm going to start with D because we always start with D. Do. Well, I know that I put my action verb or my power verb in the do box. So let's read our prompt again. Using text evidence, explain the process a plant goes through to make its own food. Well, what's my power verb? Explain. Now in my what box, I need to put what I need to explain. The process a plant goes through to make its own food. Now look at our do what. When you put our do what together, it says explain the process a plant goes through to make its own food. That came from that's the same exact words as our prompt. It came exactly from our prompt. Okay, we just needed to take our prompt and pull it apart to fill in our do and what. I also need to make sure that I use text evidence because that is part of my prompt. So I could put at the top of my what, using text, or at the bottom, I'm going to put it at the bottom instead of the top. I'm going to put another bullet and just put use text evidence because I need to make sure that when I explain that, I need to use my text evidence. Okay, now my because or bullet. This is when I actually start talking about the answer to the prompt. All right, what I did was I split screen this so you could see the passage while I work on this side over here at the same time. It's like if you were sitting at your desk and you had your passage next to me. This way you can see both things that I'm doing. Okay, like I was saying, because is where we're going to start using our own words and actually answer our prompt. So I need to start listing bullets for how the process a plant goes through to make its own food. I'm going to jump over to my passage, and when I'm trying to find an answer in my passage, I'm looking for key words in this passage that go with my prompt. So since I'm talking about processes in food, those are 2 words I'm going to look out for, because wherever I see those words, there is a good chance that's where my answer is. All right, I see food over here. Plants use 3 puzzle pieces to make their own food. I'm going to reread that section because it has one of the key words that I'm looking for, so there's a good chance that my answer is going to be in that section. Plants use these 3 puzzle pieces to make their own food in a process called photosynthesis. Using the energy from the sun, plants convert water and carbon dioxide into sugar. This sugar feeds the plant's growth from a seedling into an adult. In the process, the plant releases oxygen into the air. Does that answer how a plant makes its own food? Absolutely. So that's the paragraph I'm going to focus on. So now I need to list some things I can use when writing my answer. Okay, so I think photosynthesis is a pretty important word that I'm going to want to include. What else? I'm going to put sun. I'm going to put energy from the sun to convert water and carbon dioxide. Okay, because that's something else I want to talk about. And then I need to use text evidence. So I'm going to think about what part of the text I want to actually include in my writing. And I need to put quotes because I'm pulling it straight from the text. I'm going to use the part that says, this sugar, ... because I don't want to spend too much time on my DWB box. What I really want to focus on is writing my answer down here. Look at my bullets. They're not complete sentences. Okay, they're just an outline of what I'm going to write. So now I'm going to jump down to my box and actually write my response. Okay, so what do I need to include first? Well, I need to answer the prompt. What you don't want to do is you don't want to spend all your time wasting and rewriting the answer. You just want to get straight to the point. Whoever is reading your paper, they don't want to fall asleep reading it. They don't want to be like, blah, 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 blah. No, they just want to see your answer and they want to move on. Okay? So I'm not going to waste time restating my question. I'm not going to waste my time making it all sound great. I'm just going to get straight to my point. So I'm going to write, a plant uses photosynthesis to make its own food. Now, I am using my own words. I am not using words exactly from the text. I'm using words that the text gives us, but I am not copying and pasting them. If you copy and paste your answers, you automatically get a 0. All right? So I want to make sure I'm taking what the article gave me and putting it in my own words. I still want it to sound nice. I don't want to just write photosynthesis, make its own food. I want to make it sound good, like an actual response, but I need to use my own words. Okay? So I've already used this top box. I'm going to highlight it. If I was writing on paper, I could check it off that says, yep, I've already covered that. Oops. That one. Perfect. Energy from the sun to convert water and carbon dioxide. Okay, I need to use that. I need to use that somehow. So when a plant goes through photosynthesis, it uses energy from the sun to convert water and carbon dioxide into sugar. Now, I need to use text evidence. When I use text evidence, this is where I can pull it exactly from the text. But there are 3 little words I need to put at the beginning of my sentence. Anyone know what they are? The text says. That is telling me that there's text evidence coming. So if you are reading this, get ready. So the text says, I'm going to put a comma, And then my quotation marks. I have to have quotes because this is someone else's words. All right? Now I'm going to pull the quote I wrote at the beginning or in my because box. This sugar feeds the plant's growth from a seedling into an adult. That quote talks about how the process that a plant goes through to make its own food and how it feeds the plant's growth. So that's why I think it's important and why I want to include it. I don't want to use a quote, now when you look at a tree, flower, or even a blade of grass, that has nothing to do with my prompt. Okay? I want to make sure that my quote goes with my prompt and what I'm writing about. Also, a couple other things I want to point out about your quote. There has to be quotation marks, like I put here. Your punctuation goes inside your quotation marks, which we talked a lot about when we wrote our personal narratives. And it has to be exactly the same exact words in the same exact order from our passage. This is the only time that you can copy and paste from your passage. Okay, now I'm going to read over it. A plant uses photosynthesis to make its own food. When a plant goes through photosynthesis, it uses energy from the sun to convert water and carbon dioxide into sugar. The text says this sugar feeds the plant's growth from a seedling into an adult. Perfect. I answered my prompt. I used my DWB box to make sure I knew all the parts of my question and explain everything. I explained the process a plant goes through, and I used text evidence. If you turned this in as your response for an extended response for this prompt, you would do great. Tomorrow, what you are going to do is you are going to read your own passage and you are going to write an extended response. If you don't get it right the first time, that's okay. It's been a while since we've done this. All right? If you need help or need anything, contact me, get a hold of me through Dojo or my Google Voice number, and I can help you out, okay? Okay. I'm super excited to read what you guys come up with.